Hi, welcome to this week's podcast. I'm Mary Abazia, and I have Tom and Sean with me, and we are kind of keeping our eyes open for interesting stories. And one that's come across is what's going on with Coke right now. Coke they've used OpenAI for previous ads, but they really went all out this year. With their ad, it's called Holidays Are Coming, and they used four video AI companies to create this iconic commercial. And along with it, they did 110 versions, and which of those 27 different skylines. So they really looked at personalizing this. And so the first thing that came out was, wow, that's really cool. And then the second thing is all this backlash about how could they use AI for such an important job? So we're gonna unpack that and look at it through a marketing lens. Tom, Sean?
Sean, you want to start? What
Well,
is your
the first thing
reaction,
I wanted
Sean?
to say,
Yeah.
first thing I wanted to say, if normally we know more people listen to the podcast than watch them because we do have them on video. And if anyone is watching this, I'm just looking at the monitor and I look a bit like a French sailor today. Look, I'm in sort
Yeah,
of
you
dress
do.
up clothes. I just need a little jaunty hat on one side. What do you think, guy? And this
That
is obviously a
I think we
temptation for anyone listening to get onto the video feed and see what the heck I'm talking about.
do
I
you
think we're
have
going to
one of
use
those
AI
hats?
to monitor your face.
Yeah. Um, the I guess the big story from this, the controversy, is how Coca-Cola famously do the holidays are coming, the big semi trucks roaring through town. For many people, it signifies the start of Christmas. Seeing that advert, it runs every year in some shape or form. And the big controversy is that they've been able to personalize it to make the backdrop of these trucks roll in to be specific to the markets they're going to be broadcast in. Just let me check. I've got that right, Mary, right? That's the big controversy over. I say over there because I'm sat on this little rock in Northeast Europe, but that is about right, isn't it?
Oh, they're coming to you too, and they have your skyline.
Yeah, right. The Manchester skyline lit
Yeah, you're
large.
not on a rock. Yeah, they got you too. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. But that's the thing, right? That before, if they had that ambition, it would have been a logistical challenge and a financial challenge to get so many personalized ads. And they've managed to do this by using AI to create these video ads without the need for showing up at location with a camera crew and so on and so forth. And I guess the question is twofold. One of authenticity. Does it feel the same when you know you're looking at an AI generated image? Does that factor in? And secondly, for the industry at large, is this a threat or a liberation? Is this threatening the creative folks that support the communication in our industry, or is it actually a liberator that means we're going to be able to target messages more specifically? So I don't have an opinion, guys, but I have a couple of questions. Is it a good thing or a bad thing? And does it lose effectiveness by not being authentic in the eyes of the consumer? So there
Hmm.
you are.
Yeah. And by the way, they did that in 3 days. They came back with the
And
ad,
it's
and
efficient,
one of the
right? Of
execs
course.
said, "Oh, by the way, can you do this in 110 different versions?" And they're like, okay."
Well, personally, Sean, you asked an interesting question. Is it a good thing or a bad thing? And how I would answer that is it's a thing. That's what you have to understand. It's a thing. The genie is out of the bottle. I think that some of the backlash is kind of some of the normal stuff that happens when we have step changes and big technological shifts in the world. I think the message or the attitude, if you will, that I would hope that our B2B technical clients would have is it's here. AI is here. How can I use it? Because the kinds of things that it is doing in the hands of your competitors is definitely a competitive advantage, you know? Um, in the situation with Coke, Mary, you made when we do talk about these things before we get on the air. Mary made a great point in that you said, Mary, that now basically smaller companies can do what big companies can do. What's keeping a smaller competitor of Coke or a regional, soft drink manufacturer from doing things like that? It kind of levels the playing field a little bit. But
To an
also
extent,
what
I suppose, because you've still got to buy the airtime, right? We haven't figured that out yet. Now, maybe
yeah,
AI. scale, relevance, targeting people's devices, all the different medium that's available, maybe we can also reach, because I think one thing that when we see these big ads, they are TV ads predominantly. They have a massive social media and digital aspect,
Mhm.
but you've still got that one leveler, which is you've got to buy the airtime, you've got to buy the
That's a good
Super
point.
Bowl time or whatever, right? There's always a leveler.
I'm going to argue on that one a little bit because I think that with social media, I haven't watched that ad on TV at all.
Mm.
And I think, some of it's because there's so much controversy that everyone's watching it on social media just to go, what's the big deal about this? So, but I have a friend that has a business, and she said that even though she was launching a new product, and she says, even though I did all of the big interviews, it was in the baby category. She says, it didn't matter because it's so diffused, is that no one's getting their information from those typical, like, Parent Magazine. If Parent Magazine endorsed you, your products flew off the shelves. And now she said, there's no physical way for you to still touch those people because there's not a common source for people to get their information anymore. So I'm not you make a good point, but I also think that in this time of social media, getting information out is so much different that you don't have to spend the dollars on the big, and big airtime.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. I suppose also, now I know this is slightly broadening the AI discussion, but there's also that element of establishment, isn't there? That Coke's established. We all know the logo. We see it at every sports venue, every fast food restaurant, everywhere we go, whether that's online, whether that's in store or on TV. Um, they're there, and I wonder whether that's the thing that we know that established brands tend to stick around. They're hard to dislodge, right? This goes back to the heart of positioning. That once you own somewhere, you're pretty much set. You put roots down. But yeah, for the majority, because let's be honest, the majority of businesses aren't looking at the Coke challenge of having a dominant global brand, right? You're looking at competing regionally and with specific competitors, and maybe that does change it enormously. That the
Yeah, Sean, you said something when we were kind of kicking this around, and is that it allows you to personalize things. And what our DNA is that you have to have the customer at the center. And anytime that hot technology seems to be part of the equation, is people lose sight of the customer. They're like, oh, look what AI can do. Look what this new gadget can do. And I strongly believe that people could go off the rails and do a lot of things because they can with AI, but it's the companies that really use that discipline of, so what if people want those skylines, does that make them want my product more? Or what is it that I can do to personalize my message, especially in B2B? What can I do that then integrates that in a way that hits them, and they go, yeah, this makes sense, this is for me
right.
now. So I think that that's the, of all of what we had kind of kicked around, I think that that's a really important
And
element.
that
In other words, you still
authenticity,
gotta, yeah.
sorry, Tom, just on this, that authenticity though is so cool because if you have, I had a letter from somebody once, a standard thank you letter following a program, but they'd written on it clearly with handwriting, thanks, this was super, blah blah. It meant so much more to see someone had taken the time to write it. I also received a letter that was obviously a mass mailing that had a fake little bit of writing saying, yeah, I'm sure you're busy, but take a look at this. And I thought, I know that's not somebody's handwriting. And that actually annoyed me because of the inauthenticity of it. I got off a ride at Disney and ET said, bye, Sean. And I thought, I know you don't know I'm Sean because you're an animatronic, but I know you've recorded my name as part of the process. So it's capturing the authenticity. If you want to use AI to be relevant and personal, it also has to be believable. Otherwise, it can have the opposite effect, right?
Which brings in the element of humans and the right asking the right questions. In this case, with AI, the right prompts. It's the combination of the right prompts and the power of the technology that is the thing that I talked about earlier that you have to recognize and accept. What I'm worried about is, in this time that we're in, you hear kind of like the scare tactics of people who think that AI is going to take over the world, and you hear the people saying that it's taken away jobs, like this Coke ad. And if you're kind of on the fence, you might be swayed from diving into and exploring the power of AI the way that you really, really should. It does take the right prompts, the right, human touch, but the technology is super powerful. And it's that combination that I'm hoping that our B2B clients in 2025 will really, really, really jump into. Because if you're not, your competitors who are using it, they're getting to the finish line a lot faster than you. They're finding out things immediately in real time and what's going on in the marketplace using AI to kind of scan for trends, scan for changes in customer needs. And to the extent that some of that's out there and available, they're getting it right away. And they're spending their time thinking about how they're going to differentiate, how they're going to act on the information that they're learning in real time, how they're going to differentiate, and how they're going to execute better. And you're at a
Yeah,
disadvantage if you don't do that.
I think you're right. I mean, we're just scraping the surface, Tom, of a lot of ways to use AI. We're curious enough, and we're using it in ways that allow people to make their strategies much more robust in a lot less time. And so we're just starting to learn different ways to really leverage it. So it is big, it is scary, but it is so cool when you look at it through the right lens and use it in ways that are productive. And you have to train yourself, you have to reinvent yourself. And I think that's probably another scary part of it is you have to reinvent yourself, you have to reinvent your company, you have to reinvent your people. And change is hard. And I think that that's probably the biggest challenge that people are going to have with AI is I don't want to change anything, and you got to change. You don't have to, but then you're going to become irrelevant. So
yeah, there is no choice, right? It's one of those things where you have to embrace and adapt and ride the wave because it's here. To Tom's point earlier, it's not an option, and you can shake your fist at it and say it's destroying jobs or it's removing authenticity or it's blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, it's irrelevant to what many of us might think. It's about what do we do with the reality that we're dealing with now, and how do we turn it to our advantage? That's the question.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So instead of holidays are coming, it's AI is coming, but really AI is here.
It's behind you.
I know. So anyway, so we would love to hear your thoughts. We know that this is opening up Pandora's box in some ways, and we really are open to hear everything that you have to say about it. So good luck with your AI adventures. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.